silence of the night. Like a silent song, it fills the air, waiting for the dawn to give it voice.
Open wide the vision of the world. Feel the love that reigns in everything. Now it's your chance to start again. Breathe in hopes of peace, of light, of love.
Abre el horizonte en torno a ti. Siente el latido del amor. Ahora es el momento de empezar una senda de paz, de luz y de amor. Decídete y afronta los problemas. Para el odio no habrá lugar. Un nuevo mundo donde habitar unidos para empezar y hallar la paz. Sábalo de yertzen guruan, maitasun topado sentitu. Orain hasteko garaia da, baki argimetasun bidean.
Sembrareu la pau i ja veuràs. La teva esperança brollarà. Destines a les mans et trobaràs. Però un món tot nou naixerà. Decídete y afronta los problemas. Para el odio no habrá lugar. Un nuevo mundo donde habitar unidos para empezar y hallar la paz.
Abre horizonte alrededor, sin teoria fecha do amor. Agora entre de empezar vieiro de paz, de luz de amor.
Open wide the vision of the world. Feel the love that reigns in everything. Now is your chance to start again. Breathing hopes of peace, of light, of love. Breathing hopes of peace, of light, of love. You can't tell me that there's nothing left to do. You can't tell me that there's nothing left in you. 'Cause I still believe the world can live it through. All these pain and grief, there's always hope to hold on to. Pass right through their eyes, but We can't just forgo the thought of people trying to survive with these oceans of lies, where the sky seems so high. Can we even care to look them in the eyes? Now it's time to make a stand. Reach out so they'll understand. They've never been alone. You're bound to carry on in this life given to us. Together we will bring the hope that's in our hearts.
I am here, I care. And even though I'm scared, I still believe. With this faith, we can fly. The world is moving, so should we. Light the sky so they will see. The night is ending near. The night is ending near.
So it's time that we make a stand. Reach out so they'll understand. They've never been alone. We're bound to carry on in this life given to us. Together we will bring the hope that's in our
It is here, can you see? Islam will set us free. Hold on to live and keep this faith so we could fly.
You've never been alone. Now we can carry on in this life given to us. Together we will bring the hope that's in our here. Now we make a stand. We will reach out. Now you understand. You've never been alone. Now we can carry on in this life given to us. Together we will bring the hope that's in our this life given to us. Together we will bring the hope that's in our
Gondoskodás.
Voivoda.
Care.
Proteger.
Забота.
رعاية. Prendre soin.
Ter atenção.
Sorge tragen.
Niaisu,
Cuidar. dà,
Aruga.
cura.
Eccoci.
So here we are.
Noi siamo gli ambasciatori della
We are the ambassadors for the United World. My name is Catalina, I come from Ecuador, but I live in Rome now. I am Alexander from Belgium, and I live in Loppiano, also in Italy. We are the Young Ambassadors for United World, which means spokespersons of Neo Humanity NGO at the international institutions. Now we watch a video to get to know more about it.
Contribuire a realizzare l'unità della famiglia.
To contribute to make unity of the human family for respect of the identity of each component. That's why the aim of New Humanity, the organization founded in 1986 and active in more than 100 countries of the world. For more than 30 years, New Humanity is committed to spread in every area of society the ideal of a united world, promoting among its members and all those who share its action the spirit of universal brotherhood, as it is declared in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and consciousness and must act one towards the other in a spirit of brotherhood. In 1987, New Humanity obtained the recognition of the consultative special status at the Economic and Social Council of the UN, and since 2005 it turned into a general consultative status.
The ambassador of the life, the values, the good practices that are born from the Focolare movement. The Focolare movement is an ecclesial international movement that aims at contributing to the unity of the human family, to universal brotherhood.
E del resto ormai parte del senso.
It is part of the common feeling of the protagonists of international life, the need for rereading the meaning of reciprocity, one of the axes of international relations, and that is still the basis of our spirituality, hence of our action. Reciprocity requires to go beyond the ancient logic of coalition, establishing relations with all, as real love establishes, that demands to act first and brings to see others as another people like us, and think of every action like disarmament, development, cooperation in this line. With a strong basis of volunteering and a wide involvement of young people, New Humanity makes cultural initiatives such as educational projects and economic initiatives combining local dimension and the international one. In 2012 began the United World Project, the cultural project of New Humanity, inspired by the proposal of young people to look at the world from a different perspective, the perspective of universal brotherhood, and develop a historical and geographical mapping of the fragments of brotherhood, all the small and big actions, daily or extraordinary actions that contribute to make the world a place of peace, with more solidarity and more united. Since 2008, New Humanity is also recognized as an NGO partner of the UNESCO. UNESCO is a specialized agency with the UN, specialized in education, culture, science, and communication. So we are called on these subject matters together with our partner NGOs to cooperate with UNESCO on these subject matters. Education to peace, fight to climate change, and overcoming violent extremism through dialogue, active citizenship are some of the topics for which New Humanity is called to collaborate with UNESCO. In Geneva, New Humanity promoted many initiatives at the Council for Human Rights of the UN and the commitment in promoting the right to international solidarity and development among the new human rights recognized and protected on an international level. This year we have a long experience, a very practical, concrete, to try to really penetrate the cultural, historical reality of every country, of every people, with its specific features and bring our contribution in order to unite diversity in this great respect. At the UN, New Humanity is committed in the first line to pursue the objective of Agenda 2030, the program of action subscribed in September 2015 by the government of the 193 country members that includes the 17 development goals such as fight to poverty, elimination of hunger, opposition to climate change.
And so we have an economy and communion project that focuses on reducing poverty. So we share experiences of the economy of communion in various seminars at the UN on that topic. And then another area that we focus on is migrations. And we're working on interreligious dialogue. Another area that we're working on is water and the rights to safe drinking water.
The work of New Humanity continues because Article 1 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights says that all human rights must act to each other in a spirit of brotherhood. It must be a key to achieve a united world as an active word. We thank all new generations, men and women, organizations, associations that make concrete and visible in the world the commitment of New Humanity whose action has enriched the images of this video. And among others, today, New Humanity is active in Rome, New York, Geneva, Brussels, Nairobi, and Vienna. But before going ahead, I want to ask Alexander, what is our mission? As ambassadors, we try to establish collaborative relations with the national institutions, governments, and civil and religious organizations to build local and international networks, identifying, gathering, and sharing good practices of activity and projects carried out in every country, aimed at the construction of a united world and universal brotherhood. We try to inspire also the international institutions to have the courage to embrace the world. And in this direction, one of our main aims is to obtain the recognition of the weak fraternity world that we are living in these days. But how we can do that? Our commitment follows the method proposed by the United World Project, Learn, Act, Share. We want to know well the organizations that we represent, that is New Humanity NGO, and its partners and the projects. So it is very important the role of young people for United World and the role of United World Project. Also wanted to know well the place where we represent them. So we want to know the representatives of New Humanity in the different international institutions and the other NGOs that are operational there. We also organize learning moments of training moments with experts who work in the area of international relations, and we exchange with them ideas and proposals on different topics. Last February, for example, we worked on human rights and the work the different NGO carry out in Geneva. Another point of this method is action. To act. So we want to act because we need to know the reality and the people of our country. So we get informed about the activities that are carried out, we encourage each other, and we help each other to share these experiences through the collection of good practices. And we also make network with other ambassadors, experts, and representatives of New Humanity and other partner organizations. To share, which is part of this method, we get in touch with the official representatives of UNESCO in our countries, and through an annual dossier, we share how in the world and in our individual countries many people live the ideal for a united world. We take part in meetings organized by international institutions for young people representing New Humanity. And we contribute to the communication of the United World Project through articles, podcasts, video recordings, and other materials that deal with the topic of the United World. In 2019, in Paris, we started our pathway as ambassadors with a training school. There were 16 ambassadors from 14 countries. Many of us had the opportunity to meet the representative of our own country at the UNESCO to introduce ourselves and tell them about the activities of the United World Project and about the United World Week. We hope we can organize also in the future training schools for the future ambassadors. Among the results that we obtained so far, we collected more than 70 good practices, and on this basis we have elaborated this dossier that Catalina was mentioning. One dossier for every country. And besides this, we committed ourselves, each one according to their talents and in many other ways, with these podcasts and committing ourselves always trying to witness universal brotherhood. So in the next slides, to give some ideas of the good practices that we collected, and also the initiatives that ambassadors together or on their own have taken in order to testify about the activities that are carried out in their countries. This program of Ambassadors for United World, is on an ongoing development. We work together and to find out new ways to work better and to learn more what is happening in the world and how we can bring ahead this united world, and also this enables us to know other people and other institutions who work and live for a more fraternal world. This work is carried out together with the different experts in the venues of headquarters of New Humanity in the World, the offices of New Humanity in the World, sections. So we collected some impressions of ambassadors. They are in English, but you can see them and how was this moment that we lived together. It is a very dynamic program, and these are the impressions that you can just give a look on the screen. But we wanted to introduce a video now.
program like the United World Ambassadors, for me, it means to be where from.
Per me,
Moving ahead with other people and institutions in the spirit of togetherness and fraternity.
Being a United World Ambassador has always been a source of motivation for me to start new things and to take concrete actions towards building a more united world.
One of the added values that I see from the UAA program is that it helps you find meaning in yourself. Why? But this is because it helps you find the best in the world, the best in yourself, and the best in others. And this is also a program or a platform wherein you can share this new ideology, this new way of seeing the world, and a new way of seeing yourself to others. And this makes the world, I believe, a better place, and it makes better change for everyone.
For me, being an United World Ambassador is to give voice and to amplify the small and the large actions that human beings do to accompany each other in the difficulties, but also in the opportunities. And in that action of fraternity, we become stronger and more resilient to face the challenges that we have as humanity right now.
This program provides an opportunity to be a protagonist of universal fraternity. Not only am I a spokesperson for the NGO in my country, it has provided a worldwide connection of people who promote a dream of a united world. The experiences and actions of these people has been my motivation.
Participar del proyecto Embajadores por un Mundo Unido significa ser el...
Participate in this project means to be the bond, the bridge between the activities that are carried out in a regional way for the construction of a united world and the different institutions in the world, and also contribute to this change for the challenge. This is an experience that unites us with other local youth all around the world, and you never thought this could make you feel so close to them from a distance. This is the first value added, and among other values added, I want to mention the partnerships that this program includes, such as the UNESCO, and it is certainly a way to grow as persons and also to be trained as citizens.
It's a great experience because I learned that everyone is different, but we have all the same purpose, to make this world a better place. And also it's a huge opportunity because it gave me the chance to be part of the Forum of UNESCO for Youth in Action. And today we are working for a project that create a platform, a network for all the NGOs and all the leaders that want to create a better society. So after all, we are all united.
Ma Alex, cosa si deve fare per diventare ambasciatori?
Allora, per diventare uno degli ambasciatori con noi,
in order to become one of the ambassadors, there is a link for a Google form which we can fill in, and we will ask you a few questions to get to know you a little bit, and then of course we will meet in order to get to know you. If you have any further questions, you can write to us in YouTube, where some of the ambassadors are following per language. Otherwise, this can be done for those who are here in person as well. So we thought that before ending this time, we would ask a few questions to those who are here with us in Zoom. I'm not sure whether... here he is. Facundo. All is good, thank you. Perhaps you can introduce yourself. Yes, of course. I'm Facundo, 24, from Argentina, and I have worked at the Gen Center of the Focolari movement in Rome, and cooperating with the ambassadors for a united world. Since last year, I'm now in Brazil. That's why my Italian is getting lost a little bit, but this is my brief presentation. Only a little, but the question we wanted to ask is, how do you think that the different dimensions and local life could be linked up with international initiatives? Well, I believe that we can put into practice what we learned through the pandemic. That is to take advantage of social media, social networks, and all those tools we have available in order to reduce great physical distance via the online platform. I believe that this is the first step, that of creating this network that we always try to make grow and to put us in touch with all those persons who wish to build a united world as we do and who have the people in need at heart. I hope I'm answering the question, but this is my opinion. Yes, thank you. This is also what we've tried to do more and more since 2019 when we began together. And as Catalina said, in these years we are learning as ambassadors how we can make present what is happening in the world in this week for a united world, both small and wider-ranging initiatives. We now wish to see whether there are any questions. We think there are some questions which have come via YouTube, the various channels. We can't follow all of them, of course, but I'm not sure whether anybody who's here might have a question or whether any question has come through YouTube. Thank you.
Penso che non ci sono domande.
I think that there are no questions, but I certainly think that everybody has the address of New Humanity and the Ambassador Project, so you can write whatever you like or just share maybe a comment or a suggestion. We are here and happy to respond, and as you know, this call is open. You can find the form which is open and fill it in at your leisure, and therefore you will be part of this wonderful program. If we have a little time, I would take advantage to ask you a question which might be useful for others, as it was useful for me at the time. What would the first step be in order to become a United World Ambassador, aside from, I'm not sure about the Italian word, but apart from the interview and the Google form? So if, for example, I wish to begin to work where I live, what would the first step be, which I could perhaps put into practice? Wonderful. Well, the first thing, I think, is to get to know the situation you're in, the social context you're in. Otherwise, we can't live anything out because we don't know what's happening. And as there are other people who are trying to build a united world, it's not just us, and there are others, and we need to understand the context we're in order to be able to share it with everyone else. Then, of course, this personal commitment to feel that we do wish to build a united world, so we are there in first person, in our smallest milieu, and build this from there. Yes, thank you. I think, as you have seen, I think a lot has been said, and as you have seen, once we get to know what your doing locally. We try to write out the good practices. The following step is, as we represent humanity at these various international institutions where we talk about many topics such as global citizenship or peace and human rights, to be able to give concrete examples stemming from the idea of universal fraternity. That's to say, to translate it and to be able to live out these experiences. We do see a few more questions now. There's one in English.
La domanda in inglese
And the question in English is, how can I get to know the other ambassadors of my country? Well, I would say that you can write to the email address, the corresponding email address. To date, there are about 40 to 50 ambassadors everywhere in the world, in Africa, Asia, Latin America, North America, and Europe. And we do all this in order to be present in as many countries as possible. To know who the ambassador is, there isn't an online list, but we can certainly let you know this address via email, which this is the email address that the control room has just shown. Perhaps the control room can show us that email address once again. In the meantime, I will read the next question in Italian. How can we help you to make this dimension of ambassadorship grow? Well, these are very interesting questions. And first of all, one of the tasks that we need to take on board as ambassadors is to ensure people get to know us within our life, within our country, among the Youth for a United World, committing day after day in order to build this world, this fraternal, more fraternal world. And in this sense, perhaps we need to undertake a further step as ambassadors. Then once the ambassador is known, we need to share the activities we do. And last year, for example, at UNESCO, a young Kenyan person told the story of the experience lived out in the community in Kenya, and this person was greatly appreciated. So there too, we can be inspired and try to convince others that a united world is possible. Are there any other questions? Perhaps I can ask you a question.
Allora, quali sono le maggiori difficoltà che incontrate?
What are the greatest difficulties you find in the actions you implement? There are many difficulties, well, challenges more than difficulties, because as the program for Ambassadors for the United World is a new thing, the building takes a lot of time, and also building a network in a range of people, because there are so many people, so many ambassadors in the various countries, but sometimes it's difficult to find time to understand the time frames, because there's different time frame for Asia, Latin America, United States, and so on. So it is hard sometimes to find a time to meet, but this is quite challenging, but it's working. Then there is a whole work of trying to understand how we need to build things, who takes on responsibility, how we share the workflow. So there are challenges there, but it's wonderful because at the end we are building together in this participatory sense and through these relations among us, which entail a certain amount of fun as well, because we like to be together and we know that we're there for one another.
Poi ci sono altre domande, penso.
Any other questions, perhaps? Well, perhaps along the same line is, what are the greatest difficulties you encounter in the actions you set up and in what fields? I think you have partly responded to this. Perhaps I would say that we have been working for little less than 2 years, and we are trying to find the correct ways to work in order to be able to find good practices and to get to be known. And one of the wonderful things that we have been able to do together for the first time this year, each one for their country, is to put together this dossier, which we will then send to the local representative of the Commission. In every country there is a UNESCO Commission who it has a representative, and in this way people will get to know us, and this will help to build opportunities. And all those wonderful actions which happen here during the Week for a United World are exactly the stories we tell when we represent. There is one more question. What are the next steps you will undertake this year? So the first one is building this dossier, and then we hope to be able to welcome many new ambassadors. When we started in 2019, we did some training, both online and in other ways, and we got to know one another. These are the early steps. We would like to welcome these ambassadors in our group and slowly to find more and more maturity in the way we collect and collate good practices and translate them in a way that they can filter up to the correct institutions and the people we work with. Thank you. This is in line with New Humanity and all the various sites and offices of New Humanity in the various countries. So we would like to build this network, so because we are part of New Humanity. Then there is a question. Perhaps we need more information to grown-ups as well, so that they can become spokespersons towards young people, offering the experience they matured in New Humanity over the years. What do you think about this? That is absolutely correct. I believe that this is another challenge that we are putting together so that it becomes an intergenerational program. This program was created for young people, and work with adults is necessary in order to bring forward a united world. So I think we completely agree that we cannot go together, but we need to begin to build those relations and try to share and divulge. This is the role of an ambassador, to be able to share, but also to give one's life in order to lobby, to ask for help, to do their job, to assist, and to be there. This is one of the beautiful sides of the United World Project, the intergenerational dimension. New Humanity too, as an NGO, has this specificity in dialogue with other NGOs to be able to present itself as a representative of an intergenerational world. And this is a point of strength which I'm sure, is very convincing towards others and speaks to others.
Se ci sono altre domande in inglese.
Then there are
How
other
important
questions
will be
in
the
English.
recognition of the United World Week and how this can create an impact in the world if it is recognized? Quindi faccio la traduzione. Quanto importante è
So the translation is, how important is the recognition of the United World Week, and how can we create an impact which is recognizable in the world?
Penso che è uno dei scopi
I think this is one of the main objectives. And it won't come about immediately, but we have been working for it a long time. And I believe we met our ambassadors in Paris last year, and we saw that it's not yet evident enough. It won't happen immediately, but at the same time, the experiences and good practices that New Humanity has set up over many years, quite a few years, because New Humanity was founded in 1986 and is represented, is that since our representation at the United Nations began. And we are very much appreciated, including the style and the way we work with others. I believe that the effect, the ripples of the United World Week will be recognized, and once this happens, it will be an even greater invitation than, even bigger than this one, towards everyone in living out fraternity in small and big things, as we already do. So just a continuous recognition of a path which was undertaken a long time ago. And for us, this is an objective. And we wish to be more than just, we will have more than just this goal, to ensure that the idea is more and more evident, and that the United World is possible. I think this is very important because there are many other institutions, people who are trying to build peace, fraternity, and this united world. So we too need to try to be these bridges among the various dimensions, because there are people who live this way. So we need to do this. And this is linked up to another question that says, how do you link up amongst yourselves? Well, we do everything via Zoom, of course, and we do our video calls in order to update, to do training, but also many other things. And then we have other means such as WhatsApp or email, and we have all information updates, and all the information is conveyed through that. So it's a very dynamic and active space. There's a question in English. I will try to translate it immediately. What steps did you undertake in order to promote intercultural dialogue among the various countries where you are? I think this would be a key, especially for African countries. Well, I think that recognizing the wealth of diversity, because we are very different, we come in different cultures, different ways of thinking, acting, And therefore, I believe that this was the first step to get to know one another and to respect one another as we are, knowing what we do and what we are and what we say, because we cannot talk about a united world if we don't recognize others. It is very important to know that we are different, and this is the most important thing, to enter into dialogue, to try to do this, and if there are any misunderstandings or we don't understand things well, to try and start again, so as to say we can understand each other better. What did you mean in this case? What did you mean in that case? And to help one another to grow and improve. Then the experience which we had from the very beginning is wonderful, because at this time of pandemic, having got to know people from many countries has enabled us to live out certain episodes, certain events. For example, in Lebanon, in Ecuador, and in Myanmar, for example. So we are linked up together, and in this sense, we live for one another among ambassadors.
Another question is a very practical question from Catalina, maybe for you. A letter of motivation should be rather classical, or should it be structured in a three-way? I think in this case you should introduce yourselves, so you can do it freely by writing. It shouldn't be something in the classic style. Creativity is very important for us, so if you can do it like that, it is very important. But sharing your experience, your life, what you lived during these years, because for sure you have experiences, and not only personal experiences, but also working and professional experiences and in other areas that you can tell. So we want to understand how you live this world also in your individual realities. So it is very free. I don't know, Alex, if you agree with that. Yeah, of course, I do. So we want to get to know each other and then work together, as you said. Now, I ask a question to you. Have it ever happened that in the institutions you found hardship to begin to work and build the relations? And if yes, what did you do? So we as ambassadors, today, the institutions more and more, they try to listen to young people, and that is a great point of strength. And first of all, within New Humanity, we also feel very much listened to. The United World Project, young people can be the main characters of the United World Project, which is promoted by the NGO New Humanity. So this would be the first step. Then my personal experience with the representative for Belgium is that they are very happy when young people commit themselves and bring a positive message, and in some way a new message to them, and so they are very welcoming. Then we need time, and we have to build relations in time. And then the experts of New Humanity and the representatives who are in the different offices in the world, at the institutions, they work a lot with other NGOs. So also the way they work is very important, to try to live universal brotherhood in bringing ahead this message. But it also happened that, for example, as Alex said, some people could meet with the representatives of our countries and others couldn't. They had a short experience and maybe the representative didn't listen to the bottom to what we wanted to explain to them. But we say together, we cannot get discouraged because of this situation, because eventually there will always be these difficulties that will come out. So it is the reality where you are in the international sphere with the politics in a different country, and we have to understand it together. But we go ahead and we'll find other strategies to go ahead. Two more questions.
Allora,
one of our goals is that there is an ambassador in every individual country. Yes, because we want to see the united world. So in order to see the world, we cannot have ambassadors only in a few countries, but in all countries where it is possible. Maybe in some countries it will be more difficult than in others, but we'll go ahead together and we'll understand together. As we said many times, we build all these together, so one step at a time. Now I have another question for you. Do you have a dialogue with other associations and NGOs who are working for another world, for peace and brotherhood? Yes. We ambassadors, we have been there only for the last 2 years, New Humanity, but New Humanity has as a representative of the Focolari movement, has much experience of working with other NGOs. For example, in Geneva, many NGOs work together for human rights. And by working together, you have a greater impact. As ambassadors, last February, we had the opportunity to meet 3 representatives of other NGOs who work together with the New Humanity in Geneva. And they share their experience as an NGO, working together on some topics, on some lobbying work they do in order to defend human rights at the institutions in Geneva, and also more and more we'll try to find new young people and introduce the United World Project and make it known, and in this way build and get to know the others. Also, a short experience, I made some research in Ecuador about the different realities and associations that are working to build peace and brotherhood. And I found an old friend of the university. He started an NGO. So he was doing a project for the situation of COVID in Ecuador, and every week they helped with a basket of products for the people who didn't have money. So from this project, I understood that I couldn't make visible this reality, and I got in touch with him and I said, listen, we are bringing ahead this reality of the United World Project, and I am an ambassador for United World, so we would like this to be more visible. So we got an agreement, and one of the good practices in Ecuador was came from this organization of a friend of mine who lives for brotherhood, for universal brotherhood. In this way, you emphasized that some of our points, loving the NG, the other NGOs, and like our NGO. These are one of the keys for United World for Brotherhood. So thanks to everyone. You can write to us, and we are always there. And remember the call for ambassadors. And thank you, Facundo, for being with us. Thank you. I have been learning a lot today. Thank you very much. And thanks to the other ambassadors who have followed everything, and to the technical direction, and to all of you. Okay, let's keep in touch. Bye.
Gondoskodás. Polvoda. Care.
Proteger.
Забота.
رعاية. Prendre soin.
Ter atenção.
Sorge tragen. Niaisu.
Cuidar.
Aruga.